Hi guys, Miss Megan here, and today we are going to learn how to grow our very own beanstalk. So this is kind of like Jack and the Beanstalk fairy tale kind of activity to go along with our Tails and Tails theme. If you remember from the story, Jack traded a cow for the magic beans that grew into a beanstalk. So would you rather have a cow or a magic beanstalk? I don't know, it's a hard choice, but we're going to learn how to grow a beanstalk today, okay? So there are very few things you need for this activity. It is very low key. You are going to need a Ziploc bag. Any size is fine. I'm using a sandwich size bag. You are going to need a napkin or a paper towel. We're going to fold it in a little bit, but you need one of those. You need a dried bean. Some of you might have these in your cabinets already, but if not, you can get them at most grocery stores. You're going to get a bag of a lot, but you can buy them for pretty cheap. You're going to need some water. I have mine in a bowl. We'll talk about that in a minute, though. There are some different ways to do it. So when we are all done, we are going to be growing our beanstalk in a bag. Oh, you'll also need a Sharpie. I don't have one for mine, but you'll need a Sharpie to write on your bag. So when we are all done, after a couple of weeks, our beanstalk will start growing in our bag. So I started doing mine on July 1st. That's what 7-1 means. That's what you'll need the Sharpie for. And then I taped it up in a window that gets lots of sunlight, and my beans started growing in here. So after a while, you can actually plant these in the ground if you want to. But this was, what, 2 weeks ago? Almost 2 weeks ago, and it's grown this much. So that's why I did it ahead of time, so that I could show you guys this. So yours won't look like this right away. It's going to take a little bit for it to start growing, but after a while, your beanstalk will start growing in the bag, and it will look like this, okay? So, like I said, this is a pretty simple one. You've got your bag and your napkin. So I folded this so that it would fit in here pretty well. So one of the things that you can do, if you want to stick this in here and go put it under the faucet and get it just wet enough, it doesn't need to be soaking wet, it just needs to be wet enough that the whole napkin is damp. Or what I'm going to do today is I am going to dip mine in my water bowl and then squeeze it out, so that way I know it's not too wet, but I know that the whole thing is wet. So if you do it that way, you're gonna have to uncurl it, which is gonna take just a minute. But if you just want to put the bag with the napkin inside it under the faucet and let a little bit of water run into it, you might have to kind of squish it around to make sure that your napkin gets all wet. But this is how we want it. We don't want it dripping, but we want to make sure that the whole thing is wet. I know that's kind of hard to see, but we want to make sure that it's not super, super soaking wet, but that the whole thing is saturated with the water, okay? So once you do that, make sure it's down in your bag. However you get it wet, it needs to look like this when you are done. You can put it in there. This, I'm telling you guys, it's so easy. All you really need to do now is take this bean and put it down in your bag like this. So you can see I've got my bean here right on top of my paper towel. And when we close up our bags, the wet paper towel and the bean will have condensation, so it will make its own water. You can kind of see in this one, you see how there's like some little water droplets all over. I haven't watered this at all since I planted it. It's made its own water because of condensation, and then when it's in the sunlight, when you tape it into the window, the sun will hit it too, and so that's what plants need to grow. They need water and sunlight, right? So that is really all we're going to do. If you want to write the date, so that way you remember when your bean plant started growing, and tape it up in a window that's going to get a lot of sun. In a couple weeks, it will look like this. You will start growing your very own beanstalk. I know it's going to be a while, but if you want to send us pictures of your beanstalk once it starts to grow, we would love to see them. But that is really it. It's very simple. And like I said earlier, after a while, maybe a few weeks, you can actually plant it in the ground. You can see that mine has roots too, and that's what plants need to grow. So if you've got a pot or you want to put it in the garden, you can start growing your very own beans. It might not get as tall as Jack's beanstalk, but it's still a pretty cool idea for an activity. So hopefully you guys enjoyed that and your beanstalks grow nice and tall. But that is all I've got. So I will see you guys for the next one. See you later. Bye.